Blessed evening, collective. I feel heavy. It feels heavy. We're right on this Cancer new moon period, and like most of these, this is a combination of my expression of self, expressing energy that I am feeling, emotions that I am feeling, coping with those emotions, as well as just giving the universe a chance to sort of speak. It's self-expression for self-expression's sake. That is what all of this always is. I feel heaviness. I feel weight. There's a wistfulness to the energy. Deep nostalgia, a poignancy, a longing, definitely. A longing for what was, or more, what could have been. An appreciation for the sweetness that was, and that, again, perhaps is no longer. It's just, it's sorrowful. I don't know that I have any other words. It's a grieving kind of energy. There are many layers to it because there are levels to this grieving. Some of it is grieving for that which has passed and is gone, is released, is now moved on from. It has moved on, it has transitioned into another form, into formless, into new life, all of these things. There's a tinge of regret, maybe more than a tinge. There is this sense of new beginnings, and also some actions that weren't taken, and a regret for those, but a determination to, an awareness that there is a new path, there is an option, there is action that can be taken. So again, it's this balance of things that truly are released. They are gone. They have moved on. We are moving on, moving away. And then some of these things that there is a chance to reclaim, perhaps, and a renewed desire to do so, a vigor, a determination, a fresh setting of intentions for that purpose. It's a lot. It's a lot of emotion. I have some candles lit, probably gonna burn some incense. I was crying earlier, not as much as I would have expected, but it's coming in waves. Just this gut punch of a feeling of mournfulness. And again, that nostalgia, just all of the above. So I'm gonna pull on the energies right now. I am pulling on the soulmate cycle, but it's a broader perspective. I do feel that is highly relevant. However, it's all connected. I mean, the soulmate cycle is this balancing of masculine and feminine energies, specific sort of ones. At the broader level, the balancing of masculine and feminine energy is what is taking place in the collective, in the global collective, because that is how the ascension process happens. That is the balancing of energy. It's the rise of the feminine, the rise of the soul, the awakening of humanity, all of these things. So this soulmate cycle in particular is very powerful and very important, and deeply connected with the path and the process of Earth's ascension. But I like to pull on it as a sample, and because I'm a part of it, so, you know, it's interesting to me. And I do feel that the masculine energy within and without, at every level, is in mourning. There is a grieving taking place. And the feminine is the side that is leaning into it, that is saying, bring on the feeling. Let's go deep. Let's dive. It is natural to Cancerian energy to inhabit that kind of space, and that's a natural for feminine energy. Cancer is a feminine sign. Again, it has nothing to do with gender. I feel like I need to reiterate that. It's just an expression of energy. Knight of Pentacles. Something that, there's a couple things here. Something that was stopped up, something that was held up, and something that we're taking a closer look at now. Something that we have to look at. That is being presented, is being laid out before us. Strength. Interesting. There's a push for forward motion. Something that was stopped up, something that maybe we didn't look at, that we are now being forced to face. Strongly encouraged. Forced. It's forced by, again, we're not forced to do anything that we didn't ask to do. We're not forced to do anything that our souls haven't requested. The universe is our accountability buddy. It's pushing us in the direction that our souls have chosen and said, let's go over there. Help me get over there. That's what this is. It's time to feel. It's time to feel. This is the knight that is sometimes afraid to get wet, to get in the water, afraid to move. Very reliable, but very slow. Methodical. It's time to dive in. The star. Yeah. Again, that's something delayed. A delay of destiny. Something that we've been holding back on, holding back ourselves from, holding back from ourselves, all of these things that we're now forced to face. We are forced to look at. There's just... has to happen. It's time for this to happen. What's under that? 8 of Pentacles. Yeah, there we go. That's what I was looking for. The Tower. There's no more delaying this. Tower bookending the Knight of Pentacles. That Knight of Pentacles moves. It's time to move. It's time for motion. Ace of Swords in the Chariot underneath. Yeah. Big time. There's no looking away from the truth that it's time to get going. And on the top, just to emphasize all of this, is the World. The most powerful card in the tarot. It's the end. It is the beginning of a new cycle. It is the ending of one cycle and the beginning of another. That's not something that is our choice in the human physical form. It's something that takes place. And it is that feeling of a process that has taken place. Something like death. Something that is an undeniable transition that we do not control, that we cannot stop. And when it happens, it happens. It's happening. And it's time for something to change. It's time for something to move. That moving on kind of energy. So, why? Just generally, what is the why of this? I mean, I can say, why are we being asked to move on? But it's just, it's time. It's time for this growth. It's time for this change. Again, it's what we've asked for. And that which does not grow remains stagnant, remains stuck. Death is itself a part of growth. Without death, there cannot be rebirth. It's time for these releases, these transitions to take place. Yeah. Why? Because this can't last. This is not tenable. The heartache over the loss is pushing us to find a new perspective, to find a new path. There's a feeling of loss, so what are we going to do about it? We can't sit in this suffering. We can't sit in this pain. There's a realization that we're creating this suffering by holding on. Attachment is the root of suffering, right? And resistance is just another version of attachment. By clinging to the past, by clinging to something that has passed away, we create this pain. It's time for it to be released. And if there is some action that we can take, then it's time to take that action. It's time to stop holding. Yeah, to stop withholding the moon out of fear. It's time to stop holding back, holding in all of that. It's time to let loose, let go, all of these things. Let's cut the cards. Four of Wands. Yeah, some long-term stability that is coming to an end. Long-term situation. Yes, it can be a marriage. That's just one tiny piece of this. It's some sort of thing that represented a significant part of identity of self is fading away. Whether that was the identification of self through a relationship, an external relationship with one person, with a family, as part of a business, as someone who has had a certain career, all of these things. It can be even something like living in a specific place, like being from a coast, and you identify, a big part of your self-identification is wrapped up in that. It's whatever form we have allowed to become a sense of self, a sense of identity, which is not our self, because the self is eternal. And so when we identify ourself with a form which is temporal and which naturally will fade away, then we feel that pain. We feel the pain of the loss. It feels like a loss of ourself. It feels like a death. That is what's happening here. But it is for the greater stability. Again, that which you are is eternal. Part of your ability to be eternal is, well, first of all, you're formless. But second of all, because of the ability to allow the continuous death and rebirth, the continuous contracting and expanding, the recreation, the creation, destruction, and recreation of things, of form, that all of this is able to continue eternally, flawlessly, and not actually entropy at the highest level. Because of this continuous small level physical entropy, the broader scheme of things remains eternally stable and expansive. Six of Swords. Yeah, it's time for something to come to a close. It's time for a resolve. It's time to move into the next stage, the next phase, the next position. All of this stuff. What's underneath that? Another 6. Interesting. It's time to go deep into the emotions, to give fully, to dive fully into the feeling. I'm going to leave it at that. Have appreciation for this as well. Gratitude. But it's about this deep diving. I'm not going to interpret it beyond that. What's on top? Holy shit. Holy shit. First card out is the Devil. Yeah. Oh, I'm excited to clarify that. I mean, this is what we're diving deep into, right? We're looking at the shit. We're looking at everything that we didn't want to look at. All of the painful feelings, all of the painful situations, the toxic behaviors within others and ourselves. All of this stuff that we've avoided, we've carpet swept, we've ignored, we've suppressed. It's time to feel. It's just time to feel. It's time for the brain to be turned off, to cease the judgment, the thinking, all of that, and just witness it. Just let it be revealed. Let the light be shined on this, because it's time for it to heal. And there's no looking away from it. There simply is not. There's no looking away from it. 7 Pentacles. Yeah, it's a very contemplative. It's time. It's time to look at this. Look at what this guy is doing. It's exactly what this is. It's time to take stock of that which is coming up to harvest, the fruits that are being born, to really acknowledge, are these the fruits that we want? Are they The fruits that we thought we were planting, that we intended to plant, how many of them were planted by unconsciousness, unawareness, by default? How many of them did we deliberately plant? You know, how do we want to renew this in our next season moving forward? And it's time to clear out the old as well. It's time for all of the old and all of the unwanted in this field to be cut out, to be removed, so that we have space for this fresh. Again, it's the end of one season. There are dead crops here. They have completed their life cycle. Some of them have borne fruit that we want, and some of them have borne fruit that we didn't. Now we pick and choose, but we face all of them. We feel all of them. We have to do that in order to have the clarity moving forward of what we're going to carry forward. And it's time to let go of certain things, to let those things be released, be refreshed by our releasing of them. Then they can return, that energy can return to the creative source and be utilized in a new way instead of constantly renewing this pain. What's in the soul? 6 of Wands. Interesting. A lot of 6s. Again, it's this deep, it's a feminine number. It's a deep diving number. It is the number of shadow work, essentially. It's time to feel. The heart is wide open. I just see all of the green. And it wants to come out. That's all I get. All I get is feeling, is deep feeling. Deep feeling that we forgot was there, that we thought was long lost, feeling more powerful and profound than we realized we were capable of experiencing, feeling deeper than we have in a very long time. All of that. What is the hidden energy here? Message from the universe. 3 of Cups. Let it flow. Let it flow. Yeah, just that. That's it. That's the whole key. Just don't fight the feeling. Just let it be felt. You don't need to judge it. You don't need to do anything. There's no doing in this process. There is just being and feeling, allowing the feeling to naturally arise within you. It's a natural clearing that's taking place, this flowing. By being open to the flow, it's clearing out all of this stuff, all of the stuck, all of the stagnant, all of the old. Just let it happen. Just that. What's in the final outcome position? 4 of Cups. Interesting. This is gonna... I'm very interested to clarify all of this. It is a review of things in the past, things that we've turned down. There's a specific focus within this energy of the review, the taking stock, and the feeling of feelings to understand where we have pushed away our own happiness, where we have pushed away things that we actually wanted, where our own fear has kept us from following good feeling. And now we're feeling the bad feeling, essentially, that results from that, the painful feeling of recognizing, oh, I shut down something that I really did want, but because I was afraid, I pushed it away. There's something coming back around. I don't know if it's just the emotion here, but there's triggering situations that evoke those memories, the similar sensations. It is a new opportunity. It's things that we've pushed away that we're getting a sort of second shot at in a different fashion. But again, it's that blend, it's that split of energies of some of these things, they're gone. And some of them we still have a chance for. But it's very much divided. Those things that we let us pass, it's okay. You never truly miss the boat, right? If you had something that was delivered to you by the universe and you didn't take that opportunity, that's okay. First of all, it just becomes a lesson. It becomes a lesson for you, and then you learn, you benefit anyway, you grow, you don't miss anything. Second of all, you get another chance at something like that. Not the same thing, not necessarily, no. But it doesn't mean you that type of door is closed forever. You get another shot. Once you learn that lesson of, oh, I didn't take a chance on this time, next time anything like this comes around, I'm going to take that shot. Something like that will come around. It's part of your vibrational escrow. It's in there still. Just because you missed that boat doesn't mean there's not going to be another boat. Is it going to be the same ship again? I don't know. That's a whole other level. For some people, yes. For a lot of people, no. It's whatever. But there's a big learning here. There's a big learning. Those are good words. I like that. We got big learning. Big feels give big learnings. Yeah, that is how that works. Please quote me on that. All right, we're gonna clarify with the witches, which at the bottom has the 7 of Wands. Something that we pushed back, the stuff that we pushed back it's coming back up. Yeah, it's coming back up. The High Priestess. It's coming up. Literally, this is that little bit of emotional throw up energy of just the dreams, the things that maybe we hardly dared to dream. Dreams that we've squashed. Dreams within ourselves, things that we really liked and we had a desire for, and that we've had daydreams about, and then in our own daydreams we've soured them. We've shut them down. In the daydream, we find ourselves going, oh no, this isn't even, then, but it wouldn't happen, but not to me, but it couldn't possibly because who would, whatever, that kind of thing. Realizing how we've been pushing back our own dreams. We've been shooting our own manifestations in the foot before they even, could get off the ground, and still that energy goes out to the universe. It's a part of what delays things, because we have this sloppy thinking, right? Where we're all in on it, and then we pull back and we doubt, and the universe gets this mixed message. But it receives the desire. It receives the desire. It always does. It's time for this to change. Yeah, seeing how fear has been stopping us from following dreams, has been stopping us from dreaming in many cases. Fear itself has stopped us from even having the daydream. There's that here, so much of wanting to be practical and sensible and logical and realistic, forgetting that we create reality. We create the real world with our dreaming, with our imagining. That's where it starts. That's how it all happens. So dreaming is the most practical and realistic thing that you could possibly do. Having that daydream, having that visualization, and not allowing fear to influence it, letting it be a pure thing, pure from the emotional space, the intuitive space. It's time for that again, and there is the Death card. I've been waiting for that underneath the Page of Cups. It's a lot of emotion. It is this new coming in, new feeling, but primarily it's an overwhelming emotion in this instance. And then we got the 7 of Swords wanting to pop out, and like that 7 Pentacles again. 7 and 7 as well. Yeah, looking at the bullshit, and there's the 3 of Swords right underneath, looking at the ways that we have hurt ourselves, the ways that we have lied to ourselves, which hurts, the ways that we've lied to others, which hurts. All of this just dishonesty, this inauthenticity of self. It's time to face that and feel that, because that's how we move forward. That's how we learn how to be our authentic self, by realizing, again, nothing ever goes wrong. It's not a mistake. We all have to reach this point where we look at our behavior and go, God, I don't like that. That's not me. I want to be me. Let me be me. Yes, it hurts to look at this. It hurts to look at the ways that I've behaved in the past. And I can see now that I'm looking at it, now that I'm letting myself feel it and feel the hurt, that it's been programming. This isn't me. This wasn't me making these decisions, pushing these things away. I want to be me. I want to be in the driver's seat, not fear, not ego, not some unconscious patterning. I'm paying attention now. And next time, now, moving forward, I'm going to keep paying attention so that I can make conscious choices. That's how you make the different choice. The last time you made the choice, it was unconscious. It was unaware. It was unawakened. Now we're in the place where we're awakening to the fact that we made these unconscious decisions. We bring that consciousness and that awareness with us moving forward. And the next time, every time from now on, we're faced with something like that, we feel the arising of ego. We see it happening. We see the fear trying to take over and stop. And now we have the chance. Now we have introduced this new dimension of presence. Now we have space. Now we have another opportunity. We have a new choice that we can make. And that is ultimately, first of all, and most importantly, just the choice of being present. Just that, of being present and being aware and introducing that into conscious life experience. So let's clarify. Let's talk about it. The devil. Let's clarify the devil. I'm excited for this. This is really good. This is really, it's thick energy, it's intense, but it's so important. This is what we need. We need, as humanity, as collective, needs this mass catharsis experience. It's reminding me of the retreats we used to have. I went to an all-girls Catholic school in junior high and high school, and we used to have these retreats periodically, and always at the end of the retreat, it wasn't a treat. At the end of the retreat, or at some point, it was usually the end, they would put us in a room, and we would walk into the room and there would just be boxes of tissues all around on the floor waiting, and we all knew what was coming. It was it's the big sharing circle, apparently. It started out as a thing we all kind of resented, and of course ended up as a thing that we all loved and appreciated because of how much better you feel after the fact. Yeah, it's hard to sit down and share your emotions and talk about things that have hurt you and situations that are painful, and to be vulnerable and cry in front of people, some of whom are your friends, some of whom are almost strangers to you. But it's an incredibly powerful thing to let yourself feel. And that's what's happening. It's all of collective is being pushed into the gymnasium with the tissue boxes littering the floor, and it's time to feel. It's time to share. Death at the bottom. Why is the devil here? Because it's time for this to end. It's time for this to close. It's time for a lot of karma and a lot of toxic patterns to be finished. That's just it. That's what it is. What's on top? Five of Pentacles. Yeah, it's time for this to be healed. It's time for the shadow to be integrated. That's a big level of this, for it to be brought into the fold. And again, that's how this works. You have to look at it. You have to face the shadow. The shadow is that part of you and part of collective that we disassociate from because we judge it, because we don't like it. We don't like those behaviors. We don't like those things that happened to us or that we participated in, whatever it was, and we pushed them away and we tried to disidentify from them, but in a judgmental way. We tried to shame them, to disown them, that type of thing. We have to acknowledge that happened. I did that, somebody did that, this pain, this experience, this feeling was felt by me. And only by honoring that do we grow into the dimension of witnessing the full self and seeing how it all played out, how it all happened, that it couldn't have happened any other way. It happened because there was unawareness, because there was a lesson to be learned. We couldn't be in this position that we're in now, wanting to make a new choice, a different choice, if we hadn't gone through that contrast, if we hadn't fallen down and skinned our knees and gotten out there and bumped into things, you know, had some life experience, done some stuff. You can't know what you want, and you can't know who you are without knowing the opposite. That's what all of this is. Self wanting to know itself with clarity. The only way that it figured out it could do that with clarity is by expanding into the opposite, by allowing itself to experience that which it is at its core not. It is, of course, still a part of the self, because all of this is contained within the self. So now it has this double experience of realizing that's not who I am at my most essential nature, but it is something which I allow within myself, and I acknowledge still that this is a part of myself, and it is not wrong. It is not bad. It is not a mistake. It's in fact the most valued part of me. This is the prodigal son, the shadow, that which in its courageousness, in its devotion to self, to source, in its love of source energy, volunteered to play the role of other, to play the role of the opposite, of the devil. That's literally the meaning of the word Satan. It is the Hebrew word for adversary. That's what it means. Not enemy, not arch nemesis, not bad guy, adversary. Your sparring partner, your friend, your pupil, your student that you are on the same level as, who offers to stand in opposition to you so that you have an opportunity to challenge yourself, to test your strength, and to grow in your abilities. That's what devil is. That's what Satan is. That's what shadow is. The part of the light that volunteered, that chose to turn off so that the light could know how brightly it shines. How beautiful is that? It's time for that to be reintegrated. It's time for the whole of self to come home, to be accepted, to be loved, to be seen for what it is, which is good, which is self, which is divine, which is you. Even that which is not you is a part of you. It's time to reintegrate all of the parts of the self into the whole, the awareness of oneness. What's right with that Five of Pentacles? I ended up pulling 2 cards, so I'm taking both. Knight of Pentacles comes back with the Queen of Wands. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot here. First level, broadest level, having to do with defensiveness, pretense, shadow, again, being intrinsically linked to ego, which is the masculine aspect, which is the protective aspect, realizing how it's all been born from fear, and that it has always just been working to protect us. Has it gone kind of off on its own and run a little hog wild? Yes, that has happened. But it all was born out of this desire to protect and to help. It's a realization of that the scared part of ego and shadow, understanding that it's just afraid, that it perpetuates hurt because it feels hurt, because it feels unworthy, those types of things, and that we have the power as true self in this higher perspective, knowing that, to shower love and appreciation upon it for what it is, to call it home. In another level, there's a denial of attraction. Again, the things that we wanted, opportunities, people, all of that stuff that we just sat around and did nothing about. Because of fear, we left ourselves out in the cold on this. We never took action. And that hurts, but we have to see that again to realize and make a new decision moving forward. Excuse me. 7 of Pentacles. There's a lot of energy here, just in general. Oh, well, yeah, and the cards just jumped out. So that's that shuffle. Why is the 7 of Pentacles here? There's a lot. It's a lot of emotion. It's that tidal wave of emotion. It's a lot to look at. It's a lot to process. It's not to be processed mentally. It's to be processed with the emotional intelligence, which again just means holding that space of awareness, of allowance, and letting the feelings come up. What flew out? 4 of Pentacles. Everything that we've held back. Everything that we've held back, it's just that. Held back out of fear. Yeah. Things that we've clung to and things that we've pushed away. Again, resistance, pushing away is just a different form of attachment in essence. It's all this trying to hold on and move, to change something, to be in control physically, to manipulate something, instead of just allowing it to happen, allowing the free flow. It's all coming up. And again, just that how the defensiveness, the fear, the clinging has kept us from what it is we actually want. Wow, more of that. Yeah, just the same thing. I mean, it's time to make a different choice. We are at this crossroads where we are seeing the truth of that which we've pushed away from ourselves with our tension, our fear. Our own guardedness has kept us from receiving that which we desire. It's time to open up. It's time to let go. It's time to not just let things flow, but let this excuse me, let this emotion overwhelm us, overtake us. Let it be the guide. What's underneath that? The 2 of Cups. Yeah. It is about balance. It's definitely a soulmate energy. I am pulling on the soulmate cycle, and again, at the higher level, it's all about just bringing energies to balance. Masculine and feminine energy, and the soul energy, which when it flows, there's this sort of gap that we are then asked to follow, to fill in. Gosh, I want one more on that 2 of Swords. There's the 6 of Pentacles again. Yeah, it's time to look at how we've been, how do I phrase this? Keeping ourselves from receiving. How we've been the ones holding out on us. That there's stuff that wants to come in. There are people, there are things that want to give to us, that the universe wants to deliver to us. And we can see, looking back and facing these feelings, how we've pushed them out. With our fear, with our unconsciousness, our unawareness, and operating on that fear-based programming. It's time to look at this and to make a new decision. To pick a different path moving forward. To no longer be ruled by fear. To lean into the fear, in fact. It can guide you in that way. To realize that whenever you feel fear, first of all, it's not something to be afraid of. Fear is not something you need to fear, right? It's just there. It's not you. It's within you. It is something that is allowed to exist within you, but it isn't you. It doesn't need to be taken personally. It's just fear. It's not your fear. Put it that way. So it's not a thing you need to follow. In fact, recognize it's just old programming, and in fact is likely to be standing in front of something that you want, a direction that you would like to go. Now in this space of heightened, literally raised awareness and perspective, you can make a different choice. Rather than following the fear, you can lean into it. Or at least if you make a choice not to go that direction anyway, you make it from a different perspective, from a different motivation, inspiration. It's discernment and not fear. You are the one in control. Speaking of, that's exactly everything I just said. King of Swords. Clarifying the Six of Wands here. Excuse me. It's everything we were just talking about. Wow, the deck wanted to split on the Queen of Swords. This is unknowable truth, and it is also reflecting that discernment from the soul level. Rather than outright rejecting something on the basis of fear, at least look at it. Maybe it isn't what you want, but don't reject it outright because of the fear of it. Let it be felt. Let yourself feel through that whole process. Send some energy there. Go down that path. Let it happen, rather than in your mind going, no, 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 we can't even think about that. Don't even entertain that thought. No, entertain that. Entertain that thought. See where it goes. See how it feels. Notice the fear and keep going. Feel around the fear. Then you reach the place in your soul where you can properly discern, is this something that I desire to give to, that I desire to flow towards, that sort of thing. And in the other level, it's just a lot of truth. It's so much truth. It's absolutely undeniable truth. There's some internal argumentation taking place, but clarity is happening. Again, we have to face what we don't want, including what we don't want to feel, to know with clarity what we do. Nothing has gone wrong here. What's on top? Page of Swords. We got the whole Swords family, just about. Yeah, there's some disappointing things. Again, we have to face those disappointments within ourselves. We have to feel them, realize, why was that disappointing? Because I didn't behave in a way that was authentic to me. I couldn't have. I see that now. I wasn't aware. I had to have that experience where I was disappointed and go, I don't want to do that again, to have this experience where I'm looking at it and going, next time I make a different choice. Next time I don't let fear guide me. Next time I don't leave myself out in the cold by leaving my soul and my emotions out of the equation, by just following the screaming of rational thought, rational thought, saying, no, 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 that doesn't make any sense. It's not logical. It's not safe. I acknowledge that happens, and then I go to the deeper place. I say, okay, I feel the fear. I see this programming process, all of that's playing out. Let me check in with my inner being. Let me check in with my soul. What does my soul think about this? I'm gonna ask here and not here, because truth doesn't live in the brain. And it's not where your guidance comes from. It comes from the heart. Heart chakra's got to be open to receive it. It is being opened energetically for everybody right now, but the way that we keep it open and flowing is by feeling, is by letting feelings happen. Why is the Page of Swords here? Wheel of Fortune. Everything. Again, it's a very repetitive message, because this is what the energy is. It's time to do this differently. We had to have these experiences that we are not happy with. So we reach this place of going, gosh, I'm not happy with that. What would make me happy? Now I have clarity about that. I see, again, how I've been working against myself, how fear has been ruling me, and it's just resulted in disappointment. How the repression of my own emotion and following logical thought that which felt safe hasn't really kept me safe. It's just kept me back. It's held me back from pursuing that which I really want, which feels good, which feels like joy, which feels like desire. I want to do this differently now. It's time to do this differently. It's time for this process to change, for this way of being to change. And to start implementing it now. It's not a future thing, it's now. You don't start questioning ego tomorrow. You start now, in this moment. That's what's happening. And you keep doing it in the moment. It's only ever the moment. It's only ever now. So you keep doing that now. And now, and now, and now. Why is the Three of Cups here? Tell me about this Three of Cups. Three of Cups into Four of Cups. That's interesting. Three of Cups, the High Priest. There's an influx of spiritual energy. That's one level of all of this. Spiritual energy, high vibrational energy, divine creative light source energy. Our quotient of that is being increased. We are physically receiving more of it, which is a part of this. It's a part of why the heart chakra is opening, why we are feeling more, we are being called into alignment, all of this stuff. But it's also the effect of that, and what that is helping with on another level is breaking us out of these patterns, breaking us out of the boxes of limited thinking, of limited ways of being, limited relationships, karmic patterns within and without, all of that stuff. What's on top? Ace of Wands. Yeah, it's time for something new. It's time for this wand to stay lit. It's time for this transformation to occur. Drawn to the butterfly here. And this Ace of Wands has come out over and over and over in the past several readings, just constantly. It's time for this new beginning and this transformation to take place. The Ace of Wands is in some sense has to do with that sort of missed opportunity, or the thing that you, with your discernment, pushed away. It's the one that sort of you typically decide if it stays lit, if that new beginning actually happens. And sometimes we blow it out because of fear, and sometimes we blow it out because we discern, you know, that's really not for me. In this case, it's in the universal energy. It's the wand is staying lit because Source is lighting it. It's not up to you. It's time for this to change. It's time for these new beginnings to take place. It's time for these karmic cycles to close. It's time to stop following these old patterns of behavior and actually make a change. Yeah, Page of Wands in the same position. I just remember this card in this position from one of yesterday's readings specifically. I'm pretty sure it was one of the readings yesterday. That's really cool. That's really cool. It's time for new adventures. It's time for that restoration of innocence, of youthful reinvigoration, curious energy, which isn't afraid, which it isn't ruled by fear, because it knows there's nothing to fear. There's nothing to be afraid of. It's all a big adventure. It's time for that, man. To go towards the things that light us up. Without reservation, without inhibiting ourselves in any way. To just, we see it and we feel the feelings of it and go, wow, that's exciting. That feels like the thing for me. And we go towards it. That's it. No questions, no ifs, ands, or buts, no concern, because there's nothing to be concerned about. We just go see it. We go towards it. We move towards it. In that instance, no hold up. Does it attract me? Yes, then I go towards it. Is there any question about that attraction? Then let me check in with my soul. First of all, if it's not a hell yes, then it's probably a hell no. But I'm gonna check where that energy is coming from. If it's not a hell yes, what is it within me that's responding right now? Is it a clear soul level of, no, I'm just not interested? Or is it fear that's keeping me back? Let me check. Let me check in. Let me, with my awareness, feel what this emotion is and recognize if there's fear there, I'm going to feel around that. Holy shit. The world again, twice in this reading. And it is, I mean, we're clarifying the Four of Cups here. It's that same sort of energy of some of these cycles are done. Some of them have ended. A thing from the past, it's time to let it go. If we didn't take it, it's okay. We didn't take it and it's gone, and that's okay. There will be other things. It's time for something new. It's time for something else. In another level, there's, I don't know, there's some sort of opportunity energy. I don't know that it's the same opportunities again. It may not be the same ship, but there's other ships. There are other ships that are coming in. And this time, because of our looking at and acknowledging what's happened, the way we have behaved in the past, this time we're going to make a different decision. We're not going to just reject something out of fear. If we reject it, it's going to be from the place of soul level discernment, of simply acknowledging, you know, no, this is not really on my level vibrationally and not something that I want to give to. I don't feel this strong impulse towards it. It's not going to be the running from it. It's, well, I feel this fear, so I'm just not even going to look at it and say no immediately. What's on top? The moon. Fear. Especially read with the Four of Pentacles and the Five of Pentacles technically in this with the Devil here. Yeah, exactly that. We've rejected things in the past out of fear. It's time not to do that anymore. Eight of Wands. Forward motion, communication. The final card implies some form of communication, or just swift change. Now that we know the things that we've held back from out of fear, the things that we haven't given to and that we haven't allowed to give to us, we focus on that lesson. We pivot. Contrast gives us clarity. It's always there to benefit us. It always does benefit us. By allowing ourselves to face this again, now we can shift our perspective this other direction and say, okay, I see where fear has held me back. Now I open myself up. This holding back doesn't feel good, hasn't made me happy. So what do? I do the opposite. Now I turn this new direction that I have the coordinates of with clarity because of my experiencing this contrast. I face this new direction and I am open to it. I'm open to receive. There's an opening of the floodgates here. And all of that has to do with allowing that flood of feeling. Again, keeping the heart chakra open, letting the emotion flow. It is a whole lot of wanting to give to something now, and wanting to express that. In the sliver of energy that is, there is still a chance to bring this thing back. There's a powerful urge to express that. In the other piece of the energy, that's, well, that boat was missed. I'm not going to miss the next boat. The next boat I see, I'm jumping on it. I'm giving to it. I'm being open to receiving it. All of that kind of thing. And it's coming in. It's coming in. Whatever was removed is being replaced. There is new, there is fresh. And because of our willingness, again, to face this and feel this and acknowledge what has happened, now we're ready. Now we're ready for this new level, this next level of stuff that wants to give. And now because we're ready, we're not going to push it away. We're going to give to it and receive in equal measure. What's under the world? Ace of Cups, yeah. It's all about letting the cup flow, keeping it flowing. And it's when we let it flow, it flows to us. Okay, I'm dropping cards already. I didn't even get to say final message from the universe, but it's the Lovers at the bottom. The universe is quite clear on this. There's a lot of energy here. I have done my best to explain as many levels of it as are important, I feel, and possible for me to interpret. There's a lot of healing taking place. And again, it's the new stuff that's coming in, the new connections. It doesn't have to be romantic connections. I am pulling on the soulmate cycle, but it's all kinds of stuff. There's all kinds of soulmates. There are platonic soulmates and business soulmates and, you know, stuff that's aligning you with the path that your soul has chosen, your outer purpose in this world, that type of thing. Your inner purpose, your primary purpose is just being, is just existing. But you have a path too. You have things that you want to experience, that you intended to experience, and you're here to experience the world of form. You're here to manifest and experience joy and abundance and be a conscious, deliberate creator. That's what we're here for. There's new stuff coming in because of our allowing of this feeling. What's underneath that? Yeah, okay. It's a lot of balance. Again, letting energy express allows it to balance itself. Energy is balancing. You don't need somebody else to balance energy. You just let it flow in yourself. That's it. That's how you bring it to balance. There is a greater level of balance taking place. Justice is the card that fell out. When you balance that energy within yourself, you become a cooperative component to the universe in a new way to balance in a broader level. You have balanced energy, another has balanced energy. Now the universe can bring together these cooperative components that are even more aligned than anything on this other level. The two balanced pieces that are aware of the wholeness and balance of themselves are brought together to create this cascade effect, again, of this sort of higher level, more powerful ripple of energy. 5 of Swords. Please don't eat my pants. He's eating my pants. That's interesting. It's the real victory. Okay, please don't eat my pants. Thank you. What's right with Justice? Knight of Swords. Okay, yeah, there's clarity coming on something as well. There's something about that 5 of Swords that's really throwing me. It does have to do with seeing how we have shortcut ourselves. Just letting those truths flow. Letting ourselves see where we've been short-sighted. Again, where we've been ruled by things other than true desire, than following the positive feeling, or following the soul level discernment, where we've shut things down out of fear, out of practicality and rationale and that sort of thing. Just, yeah, letting those truths happen, letting them hit us, letting ego take the blow, That's how this healing occurs. Don't try to shortcut it out of fear or out of pain. Yes, there are things that hurt to look at in ourselves. We got to look at them. That's how we change. And when we look at them, we learn from them, and we learn how that had to happen again for this experience to happen. And we see them in this new light and realize that nothing has gone wrong, that there have been no mistakes, that all of this has been an important part of our growth, of our expansion, of our learning experience, of the education of our soul. I'm going to pull a clarifier though, because this Four of Wands underneath. Okay, so Lovers comes with it. Why Five of Swords? There's something else. There's just something else here. What is that? Why is the Five of Swords here? What is this about? Okay, cards falling out. The Tower and the Six of Swords. How many direct escalations? And the Five of Wands. Okay. Yeah, there's a bunch of, it's just, the stuff, it's a bunch of bullshit. It's a bunch of nonsense. Realizing that, oh my God, how do I find the words for this? I can feel it. I can feel it. It's just so silly. Seeing how silly the stuff that's kept us back has been, and how silly it is to judge ourselves for it as well. It's like judging yourself for not knowing how to do calculus in kindergarten. It's like that kind of silly. And yeah, feeling bad about that. Like, what? No. That's ridiculous. That's totally absurd. That's just silly. Like, why would I? Oh, it's just some old programming that's totally misinformed and absurd. It's that level of just goofy. Yeah, I've been judging myself and other people, holding us to these really arbitrary and ridiculous standards that are meaningless, and I don't need to do that anymore. I can just let go. I can just let go of the past, of the ways I used to behave. There's no big process. There's no fanfare necessary. There's certainly no reason to feel bad. I can just let that shit go. There's another level of energy though, too, that is more urgent. It's a gotta go right now kind of energy. It's a realization of there's nothing stopping me from moving on from this. So I need to move on from this. Now, yeah. Six of Pentacles and Four of Pentacles again, and that King of Cups. There's something about an emotional expression here as well. Why am I not saying this? Why am I not sharing this? I see how silly it is. I see how it's fear stopping me. There's no reason. There's no actual reason not to do this, not to express this, not to take this action, this emotional expression. So I need to do it. I need to do it now. I see that I've held this back for too long. It might be too late. I need to just get it out. That's another piece here too. I don't know, it's a lot. It's a lot of emotion. I'm not gonna lie, it's a little overwhelming in general. Just let it flow. Let Let the feelings happen. Let the truths happen. There's no doing required. It just takes awareness and a willingness to be present, to continuously practice that, inviting presence, inviting your being to be, and just letting whatever arises arise and honoring it. That's it. I'm gonna stop there. This is enough for me. This is an intense new moon, and it is the new year of the soulmate cycle and all of that good stuff. It's an important time energetically for me personally. About a year since all of this stuff started for myself. So anyway, that's the message. Resonates for me in the confusing way that it does. I do hope I explained this. It was repetitive but very nuanced energy. There's a lot of layers here. So did my best to express. I am only ever learning and growing and improving in this and every practice. So resonates for me. I hope it resonates for you. I do intend that it does. I would love to know one way or the other. Leave me a comment, like, subscribe if you feel so inclined, but just flow. Just let yourself be. Go with the energy. That's all anybody ever needs to do to live a happy life. Yeah, keep being present and keep being you. That's it. I'm a little tired and loopy, so I'm gonna get out of here. But have a beautiful, fantastic, magical evening. And know that no matter what, truly, literally, no matter what, always and always, in every vector of time and space, you are adored. Source loves you. The universe is bending over backwards to support, surprise, and delight you. You know what? I love you too. Have a fabulous night.